Joshua Kimmich, right? We all know that his contract situation at Bayern Munich is a little weird at the moment, right? Because he only has 12 months left on his deal. And I haven't heard any talks of him signing a new deal. So Bayern have to possibly cash in on him this summer. You can't lose Joshua Kimmich for free. That's just bad business. Now, I remember when the season was going on, people were saying that he fell out with Thomas Tuchel, and that's why he's not signing a new deal. Well, Thomas Tuchel is not here anymore. Vincent Kompany is now their manager. How come he still hasn't signed a new deal? Is he waiting until after the Euros? Maybe, right? That could possibly be when we sign, well, not sign, but when we see him sign a new contract. So maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But if I'm Bayern, I'm already thinking of ways to cash in on him, and I'm thinking of players that we can bring in to replace him. Now, Joshua Kimmich is a good player, right? He plays as a right back, but we've seen him in midfield as well. And I think he can play in midfield and at right back really well. I think his best position, though, is right back, even though we're not going to forget that performance at the Bernabeu, right? We're not going to forget that Vinny made this guy look like a farmer, made him look like a part-time footballer. He was getting cooked against Vinicius, but that's neither here or there, okay? I'm just had to bring that up, by the way. But look, man, there's a lot of clubs who are in for Kimmich, and I don't blame them. I think every single big club in the world should be looking at Joshua Kimmich, especially with his contract running down, because you're going to be able to get him for a cut price. If Kimmich had multiple years left on his contract, you probably would have had to spend like 60 or 70 million to sign him. But now, with only 12 months, you can maybe get him for like 40 to 45 million. And I think he starts for basically every team that's linked to him, right? Like, except for Real Madrid, though, if I'm being honest. I don't think he starts for Real Madrid. So let me not say that. And let me not say every single team, even though I think Madrid are looking at him. I wouldn't sign him as a Madrid fan. I don't necessarily want Joshua Kimmich. But when it comes to like Man City, Arsenal, Barcelona, Liverpool, right? Teams like that. Oh, yeah. He walks into their starting 11 for sure. And I think he could start in midfield or at right back. So, I mean, let's kind of go team by team and let's see where we think the best fit is. Now, I'll start with Real Madrid because that's my club. And we could talk about it. I don't necessarily think there's room for Kimmich at Madrid. I'm not going to lie. Look, midfield is the strongest area of our team. There's no room for Kimmich there. We already have Tchouaméni. We got Camavinga. Where is Joshua Kimmich going to play? It's not like we need him at right back. I know Danny Carvajal is getting a bit older, and I do think we need to start looking at right backs to bring in next season, or after next season, we should be looking at right back. So next summer, I think that's when we'll target a right back. Kimmich is 29 years old, so I honestly think he fits the profile in terms of his age of what Florentino Perez and the board are going to be looking at for right back, and there's no room for him in this midfield. So don't see this deal happening. I understand why they're linking him to Madrid because he's a good player, and generally, you know what I'm saying, Madrid are usually in the race for these kind of guys, but I just think if there was a time for us to go sign Kimmich, it has passed. Now, Man City, I think that's a great fit for Joshua Kimmich. On top of that, he's already played for Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich. Pep's the one who gave him his debut. So he's familiar with that system, and they need another midfielder that can possibly be in a pivot with Rodri. You imagine a double pivot of of Rodri and Joshua Kimmich? That would be tough, right? Like, that would be arguably the best pivot in the world. He could also play at right back, right? Kyle Walker, we know that sometimes he deals with injuries, but I don't really rate Kyle Walker that much. I think Kyle Walker he's fast as hell. I think that's the only reason that he still plays. I'm going to be honest, because he's not good attacking and he's not that good defensively. He's just fast, right? Like, his pace lets him disrupt what teams have going on in terms of counterattacks. And you do need a player like a Kyle Walker, but I just think Joshua Kimmich is a much better right back, even though I don't believe Kimmich would start at right back for Man City. I think if they were to bring him in, it'd be more so for that midfield. But City are going to look to strengthen. I mean, last season, they were pretty weak. Like, that was arguably one of the weakest City teams that we've seen underneath Pep Guardiola. And they were still able to win the Premier League. But I think they're going to strengthen this summer. They've already brought in Savinho and Yankudo from Girona, two ballers. I think they are going to address that midfield position because you can't be starting Kovacic and having guys like Matheus Nunes as your center mids. Like, come on now, let's be honest. So I could definitely see Kimmich being a signing for them if he decides to leave Bayern Munich because Man City, they arguably have the best team in the world, right? They are going to be the favorites to win the Prem next season, to win everything. Let's just be honest. I saw the percentage even for the Champions League, even with Real Madrid having Mbappe. Man City, percentage-wise, are still the favorites to win next year's Champions League, even though we just won it. I don't get it. But, I mean, it makes sense if you're Kimmich. If you're going to leave Bayern Munich, you got to go to an elite club, and that's what City are at the moment. I think he'd also be a good fit for Arsenal. Not at right back, because they have Ben White, who has looked phenomenal at right back, by the way. I mean, I don't know what the hell's happened to Ben White, but since he became a right back, this guy looks like a completely different player because I thought Ben White was so mid as a center back. But Arsenal, I said it earlier, one of the main positions that they need to address is center mid and striker. Kimmich ticks that box. Kimmich next to Declan Rice, because we all know that Rice can't play as a lone six, right? We've seen it for England in the Euros, and we all saw it last season because even though Rice was a good player for Arsenal, right? He had a good first season. We know that Rice is a guy that likes to crash the box, right? How many times did we see him score a late goal with a header or, coming up the pitch a little bit where he'd carry the ball and maybe take a shot from outside the box? Like, he doesn't like to sit back. So you need somebody next to him that they can kind of communicate with each other, and that if one goes forward, then the other one can sit back and kind of make sure that they're covering the area that might be left open because the other guy went forward, if that makes sense. I feel like I didn't explain that too well, but you guys know what I mean. And Arsenal are going to be underneath a lot of pressure next season. They have to win a trophy. Arteta cannot go 4 full years without winning something. There's just no way. So I think a midfielder like Joshua Kimmich would bring a lot of experience to Arsenal as well. He's won everything at Bayern Munich, and he's going to bring that mentality over with him to Arsenal. And again, he checks the box for a position that they need. I know that they're trying to do a whole Project Youth. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I know they usually look at younger players, and Kimmich is 29, so that could be maybe an issue for them, but it should not, because I don't think that Arsenal are no longer in that rebuilding stage. Arsenal are in the win now stage. And I think if they don't win something next season, Arteta needs to be sacked. So, look, it's a lot of things that have to happen for Arsenal this summer. Like, they got to be aggressive in the transfer window. And I think Joshua Kimmich, signing him, would show great intent. That would show that you're not fucking around anymore. That would show that you want to go toe-to-toe with Man City. So, for me, would be a fantastic signing. I look at Barcelona. This deal also would make sense. Hansi Flick is now their manager. He may look at it and say, yo, Kimmich only has 12 months. This should be a good deal for us to do, especially with Barcelona not having a lot of money, they say, to spend on transfers. Right back, he could play there, right? Because who do they start there? Sergio Roberto? João Cancelo? I think he'd start at right back for Barcelona. I don't necessarily think they need him in that midfield, right? They have a lot of midfielders, Barca. They got Frankie de Jong. You also have Pedri. You got Gavi that's coming back. And there's probably somebody else that I'm forgetting as well. But Barca's midfield, they also have Gundo as well. So they don't necessarily need Kimmich in that area. But he could slot in there if an injury happened. I mean, let's be honest. We're talking about Pedri here. This guy is cooked. He's made out of Swiss cheese. Very good player, but can't stay fit to save his life. I don't know what the hell's happened to Pedri. But yeah, I think Kimmich would more so be the right back at Barca, unless they have a right back that I'm just complete. Oh, Jules Koundé. Yeah, Koundé is there. Kimmich is better than Koundé. I think Koundé is a little bit overrated. And there is rumors that he may leave Barca this summer. Yeah, Koundé. Nah, give me Kimmich. Give me Kimmich over Koundé. Yeah, I don't really rate Koundé that much. He is a good player, but I think he hasn't really lived up to his potential since they brought him in from Sevilla. But yeah, man, look, I think Kimmich is going to have his pick of clubs this summer. I mean, all the power is in his hand. I mean, like Bayern, if they don't sell him, if he doesn't want to leave and he decides to leave on a free, that would really hurt them, right? So yeah, let's see where he ends up going. I think Liverpool were also mentioned, but I can't see Liverpool. I can't see him going to Liverpool. I know that they're a big club, and I don't know if Decca's still here. Shout out to my guy Decca. I don't want to offend you, bro, but you already know I don't really view Liverpool as that attractive. I know that you guys are a big club, massive fan base, great history, but I think with everything that's going on at the moment, right? Jurgen Klopp just leaving, Arne Slot coming in. I think Liverpool are going to kind of go into a little rebuild, right? I don't think they're going to be that successful for the next few seasons because whenever a legendary manager leaves, the guy that comes in after him just never picks up where he left off. Like there's gonna be some kind of regression. And I think Salah, I think he's gonna leave this summer. I know people are saying that he's gonna stay. There's reports saying that as well. Yeah, it's easy to say that until Saudi comes in with 100 million, and Salah only has 12 months left on his deal as well. So why would you not cash in on him? Makes no sense. I could see Van Dijk going. Trent Alexander-Arnold at the time of this recording only has 12 months left on his deal. What's going to happen with his future? I think Luis Diaz might leave the club as well. Andy Robertson. I don't know. If I'm Kimmich, Liverpool is not necessarily a club I'm looking at right now. And I don't really think they maybe want to go for players like Kimmich, even though he benefit them a lot. But yeah, man, Kimmich. This is going to be one to keep our eye on. I ultimately think he stays at Bayern. I don't think they're going to let him leave. I think he ends up signing a new deal. Again, as I said, maybe it's because the Euros are going on, and that's why he hasn't been able to sign a new deal yet. But that's just me kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt, only because he's had all season to sign a new deal. The Euros didn't start 12 months ago. The Euros started a week or so ago. Or this summer, I should say. So why hasn't he signed a new deal before that? Again, they were saying that he fell out with Thomas Tuchel, but now company's here. But again, he's probably at the Euros, hasn't really gotten a chance to talk to his manager and his new manager. And, they're focusing on winning it, right? Germany are one of the favorites, so it makes sense that all his focus would be with the national team right now. So we'll keep our eye on this one. But which club do you think should sign Joshua Kimmich?